looking at, just so I,
It says subtotal.
So that's the amount for the new 2025 project.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, so we're pulling that much out.
Yeah.
But yet you're saying that we're putting in 1,500,000, but technically we're not putting in 1,500,000 because we're pulling out 900.
Well, there's ins and outs, there's ins and outs. Sometimes it might offset what occurs in any year. Sometimes it'll be more than what we pull out for financing capital projects. So yes, there's ins and, we have to contribute to reserves for the purpose of spending it on capital projects. So every year there's going to be an in and out. Sometimes it'll increase the, as you see, if you go further down, for 2025 overall, we're pulling out just short of $3.1 million of reserves. And we're putting in 1.5, so our balances are going down by 1.5 million. But that's the way it is. That's been approved by council in the capital budget presentation.
In that 3 million, that also includes 2024 carry forward.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That haven't been completed yet.
But you see, it's a different language to me. We're saying we're putting in 1,000,000, but we're pulling out
Yeah, but
900. It does, so technically, we're not really putting in 1,000,000.
let me put it to you this way. For the new, just concentrating on the 2025 projects. And the rest of the stuff has been approved in 2024, which has been carried forward. So ignore the top part of it.
Right.
That was covered and approved by council
Yeah.
last year. So here in 2025, we're only going to spend 971,000, yet we're putting into reserves 1.5 million. So in a way, technically, we're increasing our reserves by 600,000. In a way. And that's not accounting voodoo. And they use this for St. John, voodoo. Okay. Bob, we have to get this through.
yeah, so. Again, if we got questions, we can go over it, I guess specifically and individually to nail it down. But this is basically just saying what we just approved, the operating budget or the tax rate bylaw. These were the numbers, and then what we were contributing to reserves in each of the various accounts. So that we have 60,000 going into fire, administration is 10, bylaw 15. All of those transfers are going in.
Technically, the capital projects for 2025 have been approved already. We did that back in December. So this was just more of an informational update
Mhm.
for you with the couple extra capital projects that council approved, like the grade line adjustment for Range Road 172 and the airport roof extension, which were separate motions.
Okay, so we have the motion to receive this and to approve the transfers into reserves. All in favor? Carried. And then capital project addition, there was something that our council's been asking about, and there's a price tag here coming to us for a change to our budget if we want to do it, what it would come out of reserve. So we need a motion on this one.
I'll move the council approve the pursuit of council chamber audio-visual replacement or upgrades and issue a request for a proposal, the successful bid/cost, which will be funded from unrestricted review reserves. Please, nothing from Wish.
Go Team U.
Oh, yeah, it's better.
So, okay, questions on this one?
I think the only thing we need to point out is just look at the trouble we're having with John tonight. Right? And the people who watch this online, I have a lot of people that tell me about it and I can't hear what you guys are saying. The owl helps, but it's just a bad system. Right? It needs, I mean, you know, well, Chris, you watch these afterwards. How's the audio visual? That says it all right there.
I can hear some people really well, some people I can't hear at all.
Yeah, right? Everybody's gonna
But
be,
is that the equipment or is that the people who are speaking in Lavina?
Probably a bit both.
We tried to go with the cheap fix with an owl. It's helped with some things, but not with others, right? So that hasn't resolved our issues, so with the hope that it would have done some more. So we had asked what it would take to upgrade this and to go to and more of a up-to-date system. The people that were, the contractor that the county is using estimated at about $121,000, just the bulk. So
That's too much for me. I can't
That's-
support that.
well, what we're going for here is a request for proposal. We're not saying we're gonna spend $100-some thousand. We're saying we need to see some proposals to see what it's gonna take.
It's,
But just as a ballpark though, that's what this one company is saying. And we might get other ones that will bring it down and likely we will, but you have to realize that to get better, it's gonna cost money. Yeah, Counselor Danaka.
So we're talking upgrades and stuff, but a lot of it has to do with, are we connected to the internet with Northern Fiber in this building yet? We are? Okay. So the upgrade is going to, I mean, improve this audio visual here for people out there. Is it gonna improve Dawn coming online or Sasha when she's zooming in or somebody else?
That's what we're hoping.
We're hoping.
Yeah, well, we'll find out what they
Okay.
can do, when we send out the proposal.
Okay,
But the status quo, like when I was being interviewed here and trying to listen into council, I couldn't understand anything. And it wasn't very clear, the picture that I saw on the internet.
so
And then we
we're,
drove,
so we're connected to the internet. We're supposed to, through Northern Fiber, we're supposed to have this great internet. So is our server not
certain.
working?
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know.
why is, if we're supposed to have this great internet that we paid for through Northern Fiber, why is our internet coming in for John, or like I said, Sasha when she's zooming, or somebody else who's, we're trying to get zooming in, why is it so crappy?
but right now it's just not working properly.
I
it's
know
addictive.
we've got much better connections, like if you go back in time.
Well, yeah.
John would have been breaking up and he wouldn't have been hearing us and he would have been freezing and we're not having any of those issues. So that's been a big help. That's working on that part of the issue. This is cameras, speakers, mics, and they're also talking about the fact that, if we want to watch something, the people in the gallery can't see what's going on here very well. Half of us have to turn around to see what's going on there instead of having a display in front of you so you can see it, that kind of thing. So it would be those kinds of upgrades that would be adding on to it. And again, how much do we want to spend, right?
Sure.
That's because you can go with the $2,000 owl, or you could, that's the that's where you got to balance. How good do we want to get our system? And the request here is to get some proposals, see what we can get and what it would cost, but just know that it's gonna be not $2,000 to really upgrade this to be good. What's the county spending? Do you know what their price tag is? It's probably right up there.
It's around
So their system is a little more modernized than what we're even dealing with here.
Yeah.
And their budget is close to the same just to do their
Oh,
upgrade,
theirs is around 120 there.
110, 110. So the gentleman I spoke to, he's going to be coming down, because they're doing theirs next week, their chambers. And instead of having him come down during another time where we would have to pay to have him come in and have a look at everything and discuss where we would want to go, we kind of piggyback off the county a little bit and have him just come check it out and
Give us a.
give us an idea, a proposal on where we want to go.
Okay. Thank you for that. That makes sense.
So those two TVs were a waste of money?
We haven't got any information yet on what they would use, where they would put it, any of that stuff.
But we don't use them, do we? We don't use them, do we? Just the one, but remember when
John's not on there. I thought he was on there.
So this
It's
is
never been on there.
one of our issues. We can't keep these computers connected to that TV. So that John will stay up there, or somebody sitting here doing a presentation, their presentation sits up there. It always drops. So that's one of our issues. And I know the gallery cannot see what is happening up on the screen.
So all we're asking for is for council to approve the pursuit of the council chamber audiovisual replacement. You know, we don't know the absolute costs, but to do nothing and put up with this, it's not very convenient. It's not very good. So all we're asking council right now is allow us to pursue this. And we'll bring back more information to you as we get.
Well, I like that. This is me speaking. I mean, others may not, but I like the idea of getting some information to make a better decision. But I would hope that we can get more than just one of the high-end options. Maybe, here's the 120,000 option, here's the 100,000, here's the $60,000 option to get this done, right? Like have those options and what they would look like. That's what I'd like to see when we, at the end of the day, what sort of where we would want to go. Okay, anything more on this? But I guess that, the action in here says, the proposal would be funded by unrestricted reserves. Maybe we just take that out because that sort of hints that we're purchasing this at the time, which we're not. So we could just say, upgrades and issue a request for a proposal and leave it at that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because I didn't like the way it was worded, because it does appear like we're going for it already.
Yeah.
And that is quite high. I depending what we want, I guess, right? But yeah, I like those options because I would have to see options there. Because I mean, we only get the big Cadillac option. Well, then, what is that in between? So yeah, I think it's most.
Okay, all in favor? It's carried. Moving on to our CEO's report and action list. Can we get a motion on this one?
Move that we accept as presented.
Right, I'll turn it over to our CAO.
Well, a lot has happened in the last few weeks. Some of it's been a little distracting, but nonetheless, It was very helpful having the strategic priorities, the committee of the whole meeting. And I think in the future, I'll always include, in addition to the kind of daily tasks that get accomplished, I'll also identify the progress against the strategic priorities and start driving these things through.
All right, any questions on this? On his report?
You do?
Counselor Danaka?
I just have a couple of questions that are not necessarily related to the report. And I don't know if you've done it, I haven't seen it, but I had sent out an email on the 29th of April regarding the Filipino festival that was in BC and the tragic deaths that occurred. And I'm just wondering what happened there.
Nothing happened there. It's something I just didn't get at with all the other things
Okay.
whirling about.
Okay. So, I guess it's kind of after the fact by a couple of weeks, do we still want to offer our condolences to the Filipino community? Or is it too late?
I don't think it's ever too late. I mean,
Would it be to the local Filipino association here, or
This,
to whom would I send it?
even if it's just a Facebook page post, you know, or, because you said you were gonna write something, send it out, send it to the paper.
Yeah.
As long as there's some acknowledgement. And possibly the next meeting. Or I think we should start advertising for our Citizen of the Year.
Yeah.
So we're not
scrambling.
get this done by the end of summer kind of thing. So, if we could start the advertising process as soon as possible to get that started, that would be great. And other than that, that's all I have.
Counselor Martins?
I have one question.
Oh.
Did we have a successful sale of the cabin?
21st. It's done. It's done on May 21st. It closes on May 21st.
Oh, it's still, okay, I thought it was done. Okay, thank you.
Do we have more than 2 bids?
Yes.
Okay, good. Are you done, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay. So I like kind of the highlights here. I like this format, Dave. Question is, at the committee of the whole meeting on April 12th, we discussed having a public engagement session in June. We're in mid-May, and I'm just wondering, there were 2 items that we were gonna kind of put forth. One was the budget review, and one was crime, and an update on crime. So I'm just wondering where we are in that planning process and advertising, because we're 2 weeks away from June. So what has been, what's this progress?
Nothing's been planned yet, but you want a crime reduction town hall, right? And I know I've got a plan for a candidates session for the election in June. And what was the other item you mentioned? Budget?
Yeah. Well, we wanted to have something where we explain the budget to ratepayers so that they understood it.
Okay.
And we advertised or had something that went out to ratepayers so they understand what our budget has been spent on and why we're spending it.
Okay, I thought that was our committee of the whole and the budget discussion there. Is it, or the special meeting, sorry, not the committee of the whole.
So it's more of a town hall type of thing.
So I can have a budget, so I'll plan for one in June. So budget town hall, crime reduction.
Well, I think were we doing the crime reduction? Because we've done that one already. And I know when we talked about it is what were we, I can't remember what we came up with as a result of that. But I think it could be a follow-up or what was the purpose of it? Help me out on that. I don't have my strategic plan
It
here.
was a follow-up. We were talking about community image and we've had some good news stories, like, we've gotten rid of some gathering spots and, there were some good things to tell, coming out of that, and it was dovetailed with community image. And we gave ourselves enough runway because we discussed it April 12th and we said, okay, June, but now we're closer to June. So I'm just, I don't want this to be kind of a last minute thing, and we need to also prepare, I think, for what the forum looks like and,
So this is like last year, you had a town hall.
no, April 12th.
No,
Yeah, we did.
We did have,
May.
Last year, okay, so you want a similar one this year?
Where was it? It was at the Performing Arts Center, right?
yeah, that's where it was last year.
And venue is TBD, and you decide where the best location is, but that's what we had it last year.
And we can, I attended the Citizens of Patrol meeting last Friday. And they would be willing to speak to.
Yeah,
At this-
they spoke at the last.
They spoke to us.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Anything else? Thank you. I had a couple of questions and just, I think, I noticed ATCO is doing a lot of digging and power poles and stuff around town. I wondered if you can share what's going on with ATCO.
Yeah, so they're replacing old troubled underground lines that have caused a lot of issues at the town's Clearwater storage facility. And replacing old power poles with new ones. All this work is being done mostly on utility right of ways. They did ask to remove some trees or overgrowth a couple of weeks ago so that they can get their work done easier, and Mike Dente gave them permission to do that.
Okay. Have we heard anything from Minister Seaton around the youth assessment center?
Yes, we got a letter just today. You have to have that letter?
It's on my desk. Should I
Oh.
grab it?
We sure, basically, I think they said it's just Lac La Biche, the facility, and that's it.
Okay, we'll have to see the letter, yeah.
We were gonna put that in correspondence for the next meeting.
Yep, no, okay. And I know that has the sidewalk inspection and report been done?
I'd have to find out.
The inspection has been done. We haven't received the report yet.
Oh, okay. And where are we at with the recycling? Have we heard anything more with recycling?
Nothing more, everything's been quiet. I hear it is May, so it's July 1st is the kind of,
But it's progressing
It's
and it's
progressing.
looking that it's going to be July 1st.
but you know what, one that you pointed that out. Here's actually the letter.
I'll just read it out if you want, okay? Thank you for your letter regarding the High Prairie Provincial Campus-Based Care Center and access to specialized care for youth in Northern Alberta. Since the fire that occurred on November 5th, 2023, the government has been assessing the building and determining next steps. The other campus-based care center in Northern Alberta, in Lac La Biche, reopened on March 28th, 2025, after being closed since December of 2022 for renovations that will support the safety and security for youth and staff. This new facility will support up to 10 youth placements as part of the steps my ministry is taking to provide a continuum of support to vulnerable children, youth, and families receiving child intervention services across Alberta. Thank you again for writing and sharing your concerns. Your advocacy for Albertans in the North region is appreciated. I'm just, this new facility will support up to 10 youth placements as part of the steps. Now, 10 youth placements is not very many when you consider the province and everything, like, that's
Yeah,
not
that's
necessarily,
7 hours from here, 8?
well, and it's
No.
only 10 youth. It's,
Yeah, that's not,
and it was open before, so
So I
it
think we
doesn't
should-
really say anything about Alberta, or I mean,
I agree, I think, yeah.
Okay, so then let's get after them, do
Yeah.
something with that building.
Yep.
Do something, make it into something else or get rid of it and let's get after them then.
Yeah, another letter. Thank you for your letter, May 7th, it said nothing. Now, what about our facility?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, really,
yeah, that tells.
this letter says nothing about our facility,
Yeah.
nothing. Oh, hey, look what we're doing in Lac La Biche. Good for Lac La Biche. What about us?
So we got, yeah, I agree. I agree. That doesn't really say much. I thought it was gonna say that's gonna accommodate all of our needs, but at 10 people, that's not enough.
That's not enough for Lac La Biche.
So what do you want me to do?
Can you draft a letter, and then probably should come from me, being as it's elected official to elected official?
Yeah.
Just saying that, well, thank you for your letter, but it doesn't really tell us what's going on.
And address the issues we're having regarding the reopening of our youth assessment center.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to reopen it, then they can renovate ours, just like they did like La Biche's.
Okay. Those are my questions. Anything else? We had the motion to, oh,
So, the website provider. Is he improving our town website? She.
Where is this? What are you looking at?
The very last one on your first page. Says social media, the town's website.
Okay, was directed to update and improve the town website. Yeah, I haven't heard anything back from them from that, but we've asked them to look at it and improve the links, clean it up.
Councilor Martins.
On that note, who puts up updates, like which of our staff currently put up updates, like, for example, when there's new things happening, you know, it was Red Dress Day, May 5th, we were honoring the, like, who does, who puts up those
Wendy.
updates? Okay, did you do that?
I did.
Okay,
Okay, anything else? All right, we have the motion to receive the CAO's report for information. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on then to correspondence. And Let's start with,
Pitch.
beautifications letter. Can I get a motion or,
You turn off your microphone.
I'm sorry. Motion on this one.
I move that we support beautification with cleanup day on Friday, September 19th, 2025.
And what does that look like by support?
We provide a dumpster for them to throw the garbage in. Like a central, I mean, this is, when I was a kid, this is what we did, right? We went through and we had cleanup day. And everybody just went to the, you know, we cleaned up your town, you took all your stuff to the dump and you dumped it.
We asked them what they would want
Yeah.
Yeah,
instead of,
Well, in the letter, it does say we'd like to sit down with council and brainstorm ideas. Ideally, maybe a small committee, to talk about it and go from there.
really? You want to form a committee
no,
for a
but I'm
one-day
just-
cleanup?
Go ahead.
Sorry, Trish did stop off my office. And her big thing was bringing back the cleanup at the Sports Palace. That was their biggest,
No.
Oh.
No.
What do you mean at the sports palace?
dumpster diving days.
for spring cleanup. A lot of people in the community found that because that's taken away, you see more trash in yards, you see more, bigger appliances sitting out, you see a lot of unsightly, properties because a lot of people do not have the means to transport these items to the Gilwood dump.
Yeah.
They could borrow a French truck to run it to the Sports Palace, but they can't borrow that French truck to take it to the bins. And I think that's a big theme that people have mentioned, that a lot easier to ask for help in town than it is to drive it outside of town, especially if you're already working with someone, your neighbor, working together. That was one of the conversations, maybe not make it a month or however long it was, but just give residents an opportunity to be able to dump their items somewhere within town limits where they have more accessibility.
Yep, go ahead.
It can't be at the parking lot at Sports Palace. Afterwards, the parking lot was always trash. I think the last couple of years that they did it, I think they were collecting stuff at the town shop, I think is how they were doing it. But that was a huge investment in time, repairs afterwards. It used to be that you couldn't take stuff to the Gilwood dump if you were in town. I get it, not having the access to a vehicle. But we traded the cleanup week for access 365, like all year long to the Gilwood dump is what we trade. Maybe we can do something with appliances. Like, have it where, you got an old water heater, an old fridge, freezer, whatever. Maybe have a central location for.
What was the cost of that cleanup week versus the cost to use Gilwood full year?
More,
More, yeah.
a lot more.
That's what we were telling them.
Yeah,
10 or 15 grand, I think.
Yeah, it's
And-
expensive.
And
Or we
manpower.
had a bin where we could dump trash for a week,
No, because we have too many that go inside the bin and then we're in trouble.
those large.
That's what we
Yeah,
had
that's what
before. We
I'm
had bins there and it just overflowed onto the side and everybody was picking it up and hauling
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It was a
It's a-
gong show. We put a bin out.
yeah. Now,
There
if we
was
had,
safety hazards, so you couldn't do that.
The ones they used at the gun show, like that big gray.
Oh, and it was overflowing big time.
yeah, I think
It was,
I like the idea of being able to get rid of bigger bulkier items in town. we could sit down with them and like, I have no problem with like a town cleanup thing and, pick up the garbage on the streets and stuff like that. And, maybe have a central dumpster for that for a day. And then have something with, appliances where like somewhere they could take them and, geez, that's gonna be huge though, cause it,
Yeah,
we gotta sit down and talk with her. I have no problem supporting this idea, but, we should sit down and chat with, Trish, whoever else they got as part of that. I do.
yeah, the walking, the back alleys and stuff is great, but no, we can't do that. Garbage around them.
Yeah, I don't know how this. I mean, literally, it's called dumpster diving days because you take stuff there and then you go and get another load and come back and half the stuff that you took there is gone.
Yeah.
I told her.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll talk to Trish on my own time about it and we'll see.
Really, all she's looking for is ideas to beautify the community.
Yeah,
And those unsightly homes or businesses.
Yeah.
that Have that excess garbage sitting around, how we can make it so that they have to remove it so that visitors coming in, anyone here for sports, the.
We do have an unsightly bylaw.
Yeah,
And we can make people move things that are unsightly, so that part we can do, and that's what our peace officers do, and I know with the last report, they've been working on it. I can't remember how many unsightlies he had go, huh?
7, I think.
yeah.
At least 7, yeah, and they had moved 7 vehicles and they had another 12 or something on the go, and like they're doing a
Now,
lot.
Summer, we're having, we had a big, baseball tournament, so we had, 800 to 1,000 people at the Diamonds, and it looked phenomenal. It's that one house you pass where you're just like, oh, that one house everyone sees driving into
yeah,
town.
I
I know, I
totally
mean,
agree. And
it's-
the yards are getting worse. They are. People aren't looking after.
For
the
that
yards.
particular house, maybe let our peace
Brady,
officers.
Brady, oh my God. He's all wrong.
Brady or Ellen know, and then they can get on it. Maybe it's one that they're already aware of and are working on, but
I just know beautification's trying to see if they can come up with an idea, so I'll ask them and then.
I'll rescind my motion that I made. I will make a further motion to receive this for information and I'll talk to Trish on my own time.
Perfect.
okay, any other discussion on this one? All in favor? It's carried. Moving on then to the ATCO report. And a motion on this one?
What we see with for information.
Okay, and then a motion to receive for information. Any questions on this? I know they used to come in and do sort of annual reports, but we haven't had one in a while.
I don't think we've had one this term.
Yeah, I can't remember the last one. We had I know Amanda Mattern was the regional manager and she was good at coming in, and then she left, and I can't remember exactly when, but when she left, we haven't had that report. This might be sort of what we get now is this, and we can ask for more if we want it. Good with this, receiving for information?
Yep.
All in favor? Carried. And then we had the notice sequencing on the Town of High Prairie website. That's right behind the ATCO one. from Wendy.
Oh, is that an extra thing that we put up?
Well, it's part of the correspondence that's in our package here.
I think David sent us this email.
That's what. So we can, what do we want to do with it? We've got the report. I'll make the motion that we receive it for information and then we can open up the discussion and go from there. But. Councilor Martins?
I have a question. So at no time, I remember when, the lady from the state was sitting there in June of last year, we all agreed that we would make it available, but at no time did anyone vote to pin it or leave it there indefinitely. So, as well as I told you on April 22nd, the screenshot I have has a different, when, I believe when David was hired, we put out an announcement there that said, we appointed him, like, I forget the exact wording, I can go back and look. But very abruptly on the 23rd, it changed. So that's why I asked, is there a staff member here that makes those updates? And so I guess the question to administration is, who authorized that change? Because there was a change from day 1 to day 2. That was my question.
Yeah. I'm aware from the city of Sarnia when the mayor was found to have harassed 4 senior female executives. 2 integrity commissioner reports stayed out on that website for 3 to 5 years. So I don't know. That's why I asked, I went to municipal affairs and asked them, well, how long is this supposed to be? And she didn't, as municipal affairs tends to do, they don't really give a definitive answer, but.
Yeah, they said talk to a lawyer.
Yeah, the previous article on the 22nd, this town of High Prairie Council appoints new statutory CEOs. I didn't turn it off, but so I hear you, David. You'd like to have this there for the next 2 to 5 years.
No, I'm not saying that.
Or council can make that decision. However, that decision wasn't made. So on the 23rd, who authorized the change? Like which one? If I didn't do it, you didn't do it. Who actually made that change happen?
On the 23rd of what?
April.
This April.
Correct.
That code of conduct, Sage investigation report's been like that ever since I've been here.
No, it hasn't been there. I can show
I
you
haven't
here.
done anything.
What change are we talking about?
Well, certainly you haven't, but I'm asking if any of your staff have, or,
Not that I'd like, even when I was being interviewed for this job, that report was right there. So,
yes, there are 3 sections on our website. There's the home feature side, there's an upcoming events, which is where this conversation started was, hey, in upcoming events, you have your old events when there's the gun show happening, other things happening, like there should be a scrolling sequence,
Yeah.
right? That was so there, if you look at, there's 2, this is a mobile device, but if you look on a website, there's the feature, there's the upcoming events, and then there's all the stuff on the bottom. There's multiple changes. So did Catalyst make the change? Did it magically just happen? I'm just curious because
I'm not aware of any change on April 23rd. Wendy, are you aware of any change on April 23rd? That report stayed exactly where it is forever.
So can I ask just for my understanding, how do items move up and down on that list? And whether it's the main one or there's 4 or 5 on the side, how do those move up and down? And do we control which ones are on top, first, second, third, or is it just put up and then it moves down? And then if somebody clicks on it, it moves back up, or how does that work?
If they're pinned, they stay towards the top. If they're not a pinned notice, they'll just follow in date sequence
Okay.
as they're posted.
And so, we meaning somebody in the town can pin that and say, stay there.
right, and so my question would be, who made that decision and who authorized a member of our service team, provider, vendor to pin it? And this would likely have been before David started, because David wasn't here when the pinning might have happened. But Shanda, you might have been, so I don't want to speak to you, I only speak to the administration as chair, but who pinned it and who authorized that? And will we continue this forever? I mean, I guess I'll make a motion to unpin it because I'm not sure who authorized the pinning to begin with. It shouldn't have been pinned back in January, June of last year.
Well, I think since the Sage investigation report keeps getting brought up in the newspaper and elsewhere, I think it should stay until all these things get resolved. Again, it can stay out there for a year or two or three, but that's not my decision. I'll leave it to council. You know, what you think is, maybe it should be with the change in council. But this happened during the 4-year term of this council, so it's up to this council to decide what they want to do. I'm fine either way. But I have nothing to do with this.
Councillor Stenos?
As I stated the last meeting, I'd like Santa's workshop up there. Cause that's a limited time to get those bids in. It's really hard to find Santa's workshop.
You click view all, you should see everything that's.
Our website is not user friendly. And when you tell people Santa's workshop is for sale, it's like, we're on our website. It should be front and center till whenever, the 21st or whatever. For the deadline.
We can push that back up. To be more front and center.
Yeah. And like as soon as you come on the website, that it's there, you don't have to go look through it. You don't have to click different.
We'll push it back on, back up on Facebook.
Maybe just a little note that says closing soon.
Yeah.
What is it, the 21st or the 28th?
We put a little flashing light above it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
But let's get back to.
Yeah, this, so just number one, so some things get moved up if they're clicked, if they're not pinned, they move up. Is that, did I hear that part correctly? Or do they have to be, are all of those, how do they work?
If we pin it, they'll stay,
Yeah, but if you don't pin it, what happens?
they'll fall in date order.
So every time something new comes on, if somebody opens a document way down, it doesn't come to the top? No, okay, we were wondering about that. It just goes in a time sequencing.
Unless it's pinned.
Gotcha.
So. Go back to the pin. And let's unpin it.
I believe that motion has been made.
So. I
Well,
would
we
throw-
have one motion on the floor.
Do we?
What did we do with this inquiry for the website? I think it was receipt for information. Who, Wendy, who made that motion? I'm trying to think. That's what I thought. I thought I did, but I wasn't sure. So we'll deal with that, then we can make another motion, but we can discuss this more before there's anything more on it. Councillor Shishin?
Okay, we're talking about it being on the website or what? The report.
Yep.
Basically. Okay, in light of it just resurfacing as a front page news article again, I failed to see why we would remove it from the website. Because
It's not
again,
removing it from the website, it's just unpinning.
that's fine.
Yeah, essentially removing it once you unpin it.
Well, it just drops down into Dave's weight.
It'll- Basically. So if that hadn't, I would have maybe been in favor yet. If that hadn't come up again, it's come up again. And it's brought up pertinent, it's brought up. Here we go again. Without our knowledge, this is brought up again. Front page news. We were not aware of this. Front page news all over again. So in light of that, otherwise I could have. I was really putting that behind me already. I could yet have worked with that and dealt with that. There was no, we were yelled at again, all over again. It's not my fault.
Let's,
So,
yeah, we got this, well, we're not even really on that motion yet,
well,
but
I
yeah,
am.
Okay, let's deal with the first motion.
yeah, we can deal with the first motion. To receive, my motion was to receive the report for information.
Okay.
Anything else before we vote on that? All in favor? Opposed? Counselor Martins, you didn't vote? Yeah,
My motion or what motion are we voting?
my motion.
And what was your motion?
My motion was to receive for information.
Are we making another motion on the same item?
Well, yeah, we can, but I was receiving for information was my
Well,
motion.
no, receiving for information means that it's been done, so I'm opposed to it.
Okay. So it still passes.
Now we make a motion, another motion.
Well, yes, my motion, may I?
Yes.
My motion is that, I move for this to be unpinned because then it was done so illegitimately when no motion of council ever directed administration to pin it. It was never done and it was, show me, because it wasn't, we never talked about it. So I wanted to go back to being unpinned as was our direction back in June of 2024.
Well, it was the council's direction to not pin it back then. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we did say to pin it, but we didn't say to unpin
We
it.
talked about it being a 6-month thing, like sentences are served, you cannot flog someone indefinitely. So now I'm hearing 2 years, 5 years indefinitely. That was never the motion. So my motion is that we go back to the, it was put on there for some period of time during the course of the sanction period, and that's that. I mean, lots of things have happened in the last 2 to 4 years that keep coming up. So let's not go down a spiral. I'd like to move forward. I'm voting that, or my motion is that we unpin it because the motion was never to keep it pinned indefinitely.
Okay, we're running very short of time. I got 3 minutes left here, right? So let's deal with this one and then that'll probably be the last. We'll have to carry the rest
And
of our
I'm
stuff.
asking for a vote just to have record of this because things disappear.
Okay, so any other comments before we vote on this one?
I just want to clarify, we're talking about unpinning it. We're not talking about removing it from the website.
Correct. It would still be accessible.
All right.
We have clarification of, so what if numerous things were pinned? How would that work? Like, what if multiple things were pinned?
Then they would stay up there.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. If they're pinned, they don't move.
They're pinned on stage work.
So,
Just the bottom 2 would change or bottom 3 kind of thing.
Depends on how many you have pinned.
But it still doesn't answer the question, who pinned it?
okay, well, we can't deal with that question right now because we got about 30 seconds to make this vote before this meeting is automatically adjourned.
Well, then after that, we'll have to talk, are we
No,
adjourned or are we going?
We have to because it's 10 o'clock.
Right, but we have talked in the past about, if all are okay within council to extend the meeting, are we?
We're not.
But yeah. And it was also a motion that to extend it has to be done earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. According to our procedural bylaw.
Yes.
All right.
Call the question
Call the question. All in favor?
of unpinning the report.
Correct.
So you're gonna vote?
Oppose?
And this is
It's
recorded.
carried.
This is a recorded vote.
Did you get the numbers? That it was, sorry, yeah, John was in favor. Yep, sorry, I keep thinking he's up behind me, but he's not.
No.
Yeah, I know, I guess.
Never been.
Meeting
Okay,
adjourned.
with that, we'll have to follow up with the rest of our stuff. Is that the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
See you all.
See you, John. Be safe.
Peace and love.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I would have forgotten again.